Now these are both enset bananas. This one is the Ventricosum maurelii and this one is the Ventricosum hiniba. Now this one is slightly younger than this one. This one we've had quite a few years. They both have to be dry stored because they're too big to get in my living room. I can't really store them as a house plant at this sort of size. So they need to be dry stored and made to go dormant because they're not frost hardy. Once it gets down to 0, it will kill both of them. This one has got quite a big trunk on it. I think can be dry stored quite safely. This hiniba here, he's a little bit smaller, and how you can sort of tell whether they're big enough to be dry stored, if you can get your hands around them like this, then maybe he's not quite big enough to be dry stored. I'm going to cut him down a bit so he's a bit more manageable, and maybe just leave on 1 or 2 leaves, dig him out of the pot and see if I can get him into my front room so he can live basically as a house plant, carry on growing a little bit, hopefully not quite as quickly. This one, I'm going to cut all the leaves off, make him go dormant and dry store him in the dark at 5 degrees. Now when I cut the leaves off, I leave a little bit on here. They tend to rot a little bit. It can rot from here and I can maybe save the trunk. If you cut them right back and they start rotting at the trunk, that can be a bit of a problem. So to cut all of these leaves off, I don't need these. He won't need them either during the winter. He has to be dried out thoroughly before being stored. Well, the water runs off of here, down into here and into this bit, and it tends to collect down here. So we'll turn him upside down when we eventually get him out, drain all that water off, leave him for about a week. We'll turn him back the other way, put him in a pot and dry store him in the dark. Now just as a gauge, look at the size of these leaves. Absolutely incredible. They'll get even bigger than this. I've seen these 15 feet tall. Okay, with this one, I'm going to take off these lower ones and maybe just leave a couple of these middle ones so that I can fit him in my front room. Now we don't need to turn him upside down and dry him off because he's going to stay active. He's not going to go dormant. So that water can just evaporate in my front room. It's just going to be treated like a normal houseplant. Now I think I'll take this chap off and just leave on those middle 2. I'm going to have to cut some of the roots. I want to save as many roots as possible because I'm just going to pot him up in a smaller pot and grow him on. When I take out this one, I can cut most of the roots off. It doesn't really matter because he's going to go dormant and he'll just grow new roots next year. But this chap's going to need them. Now I'm going to pot him up and put him in my front room. I can just reuse this soil because he's not going to grow much over the winter. And next year, when I put him back in the barrel, I'll put a load of manure and new compost in to give him a fresh start. But I don't actually want him to grow much. So if he's using up soil, which isn't very nutrient rich, that's great. Right. Now we can come into my front room and watch telly with me. His roots seem to have snapped off, but there's still roots in here. It doesn't matter because he's going to go dormant. And what I'm going to do, I'll wash all this soil off and then I'll store him upside down for a week to get all the water out of these little holes here. And then once he's dry, I'll stand him upright and put him in a plant pot. No compost or anything in it, just to keep him so he stands upright. And if you keep him in the dark at 5 degrees, you'll find he'll just go right the way through the winter, not do anything at all. You're storing him sort of like a giant bulb. 2 more to go.